everyone. Welcome back to our prayer request series. We are now going to find out about the serenity prayer. We hear the serenity prayer in meetings all the time, and if you're not in the rooms of recovery, I'm sure you're familiar with the prayer. You've probably heard it at some point somewhere. It's a very popular one. And today we're going to get Stevie's perspective on the serenity prayer and his knowledge about the serenity prayer.
Well, that's a tall order, I want to tell you, because the serenity prayer is big.
Right, we're focusing on the condensed version,
oh,
right?
We're focusing on the condensed version?
Just the condensed version that we do in the room.
That would be very hard for me, Katie,
okay.
to just focus on the condensed version. If we were just doing, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I mean, that's really self-explanatory. We're powerless over a lot of situations. So God give me the wisdom not to try to change things I can't change, but the strength to change the things I can. So the first part of the serenity prayer, I think, is very obvious. I'm not going to go and change today the laws of the traffic of Hollywood, Florida. God's given me the wisdom to stop at a stoplight. If I decide today, you know what, I'm not going to stop at a stoplight. Today I've decided I'm more powerful than the laws of Hollywood, Florida, or the nation. And I'm just going to drive through red lights. I'm not going to stop. Today I've decided not to. Then when I get into a near fatal car accident or a fatal car accident, and I say to God, what happened? He says, well, where you didn't use your serenity prayer. You needed to show wisdom in the things you can't change, and wisdom in the things you can change.
So can you simplify that for us, Stevie? So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. What can I not change?
There's a million things we cannot change.
What is simplistically put, what is it that we can't change? Is it people, places, and things?
Well, sometimes we can change people, places, and things. Sure, sometimes that's things we can move. We can stay away from people that are bad for us. We can stay away from environments that are bad for us. We can't change people, places, and things. Attitudes. I can't change how people feel about me. I heard yesterday someone said to me, hey, I ran into this friend of yours and they had a lot of terrible things to say about you. And I was like, what? I thought that person was a friend of mine. And they said, no, they said X, Y, Z. I can't change the way people feel about me. I can't change a lot of things in life. So that's the first part of the serenity prayer. Ask me the second question.
So the second part being, and now I have to say it out loud in my head to go through it. So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can. What can I always change?
Well, we can always change what's inside us. The acceptance page on 417 of the 4th edition of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, or the 3rd edition, page 449. What can I change? What's in me. I can't change the world policies right now. Like right now, I'm not crazy about everything that's going on in politics. And that's been for a long time. I don't mean this current presidency. I'm talking about for a long time. I think that politics are really skewed towards people in power. But I can't change that. So what I can do is I can change what's in me. I can honor who God has allowed to be elected. I can honor that by not spending all my time wishing that person, whoever the person is, falls out of office or gets into a car accident or some horrible thing. What I can change inside me is I can accept that this is what it is for right now, and let me try to do my part in changing my little micro area and not the big macro area. Now also, in asking God the courage to change the things we can, we want to ask Him to give us the strength to be able to change injustice, to be able to go into meetings and speak boldly about God is the creator of the universe. I believe speaking boldly about God is important as you understand Him. I believe the courage to change the things we can. What? Don't we have enough resources to change the planet, Katie? Yes. Don't we have enough resources to feed the homeless? Don't we have enough resources to knock out addiction? We do. However, if we don't see the serenity prayer, we can get so backed up in it that we would get so upset that we can't change the things that we want to change, even though they're out of our power, that we could even pick up from being so upset about the world. So say the serenity prayer out loud.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
I can't stop Merck from making 7 million pills of of the opiate pills. I can't stop major pharmaceutical companies from producing the pills that are killing all our kids. What I can do is I can go into meetings and talk about how great God is. And if you have God in you and you have the 12 steps and you have a great sponsor and you have a service commitment, you're not going to want to pick up the pills. That's what I can change. I can't change that everybody in the world is smoking marijuana now. That I walk in the street and I'm walking with my 9-year-old and a gigantic mountain of marijuana smell comes and whacks my entire family. My wife who's sober, I'm sober, and my 9-year-old. I can't change that. You know what I can do? I can say to Joshua during that time, he says, Daddy, what's that smell? I'm like, you know what, Joshua? The truth of the matter is, that's marijuana. We don't do that. We're a sober family. And then, you know, and then give, that's the stuff I can change. I can bring him to the next street. I can tell him, you know what, Joshua? Daddy used to have a problem with that kind of stuff, and you know the story. You know how bad things happen to me, so we stay away from that kind of stuff. Now, that's the stuff I can change.
That's amazing, and you referenced Nelson Mandela in one of our earlier videos, and I want to bring that back now.
Great.
Because he was the one who said, be the change you want to see in the world.
Wow.
And that change starts within. It always starts with us, right? And so that's the wisdom. That's where the wisdom comes from. And that wisdom develops over time as you continuously seek God and you start to change your inner consciousness and your perspective and your thoughts and seek God's wisdom in all things. Then you start to gain a more automatic response to knowing when you can change something and when you can't, and that serenity prayer really comes alive in your life.
Yeah, and even if you went to go change it, but then you realize you can't, the wisdom to know the difference.
Yes.
You know, right now I can't change that, the wisdom to know the difference. Now let's think about the next line right after that. Living one day at a time. Enjoying one moment at a time. Right there. Taking one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. That's the next part of the serenity prayer. Because there's the first part that we say in meetings, but then there's the long version of the serenity prayer. And the next one is saying, living one day at a time. Okay? So what does that mean? That means this is the only day that God gave us. We don't have tomorrow. We don't have yesterday. We don't, you know, can you imagine during this time of the COVID, a lot of us, including myself, was saying, I'm going to be away. Like, this is the week that our kids get out of school. Yeah. And I had a family vacation planned. But you can't go on vacation now. I thought I could go on vacation. I made all the plans. I paid all the fees for the plans. I picked out the cruise line. I checked out the one I wanted to go to. And we were going to go to Alaska. We're supposed to leave next week, on June 4th. But there's no Alaska trip.
No.
Because you can't look into the future and say, I'm going to go here. Or I'm going to go here. We have to take it today. And the Bible says that God gives us enough strength for today. And He gives us enough stuff to worry about for today. And we need to stay in today. So that's the next part of the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The courage to change the things I can. The wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time. Enjoying one moment at a time. Like I'm enjoying this moment right now. I'm not thinking I want to be anywhere else right now than here with you, here with our viewers, enjoying one moment at a time. And then the big part, the last part of the serenity prayer, which we can do at another time.